Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
Attacking a small dog.
White people.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, you ready to get this started?
Yeah, buddy.
Some might be brash, so let's make them humble. That means it's time for another Remake Rumble. That's right, everybody. We're back. And tonight we're going to do a Remake Rumble with Oubliette Sparks from Tsunami Bomb, myself, Screamin' E from the Memphis Murdermen, and our Remake Rumble homie, the man, the myth, the legend, the Tower of Power, Money Man. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back and joining us for this Remake Rumble. And as you already know, tonight we're going to do Wrong Turn.
Yeah.
Wrong turns.
The Wrong Turns.
That's my favorite band.
When you said that, I was like, that is a good name for a band. So we got the, what is it, Rob Schmidt 2003 one and the Mike P. Nelson 2021 remake of Wrong Turn. But before we get into any of that, it's time for a little horror news. Who wants to go with some horror news first?
I just have some sad news.
Okay.
No,
Well, we might as well start there.
Yeah.
my schedule has me in and out, but I have like half the year off, and it's always during the time that I'm at work that all the cool shit happens. So it's a fantastic horror festival here in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one coming up that's all Texas horror, and it's like the day after I leave. So
right. Was it Texas Frightmare? That one?
I think that one's in March. There's a Texas horror festival that's all Texas horror.
Right.
And it's in where was it? I don't even remember because I had to write it off because I can't make it. I was mad.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna be here.
So that the other one in March is in like Irvine, and I think I'm gonna be here for that. So I actually could go to one, and that kind of has me stoked. But like the way my luck's been is like they've like changed my schedule like randomly. Right. And it always fucks me. So I was sad.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy.
Yeah, man.
That's some fucked up shit.
I need consolation.
You need consummation.
Oh
shit.
Not after that the vasectomy reversing signal they sent out.
Yeah. Don't fuck around.
My bad.
Yeah. So do you want to go next, Oubliette?
You want? I can. I got stuff.
I mean, I just have one, like, it's not even like really news, but so you might as well go do your thing.
I mean, if you'd like to do your little blurb or whatever it is, you can go first.
I mean, yeah, it's just talking shit. So apparently
it's about the Exorcist.
Yes. Apparently that thing sucks super bad.
I heard it's a big flaming pile of dog shit, and they're like, why would you even do this?
Dude, I don't know. But it's very rare that you see almost everyone in agreement. Like there's been I think I saw like one or two people that I know that were like, oh my God, it was awesome. But everybody else was like, what a steaming pile of shit. Like even the publications are like, man, that just missed the mark completely. And I'm like, well, yeah.
I mean, they paid $400 million just for the rights.
Oh, Jesus
before they
Christ.
even fucking filmed or wrote anything. 400 million for the rights.
Well, I
That
posted
shit is hilarious. Someone's jumping off a skyscraper right now, guys.
Right? I posted that one screenshot. I forget who it was from, but it was saying how Friedkin was like before he died. Apparently, it could just be talking shit because it's the internet.
Sure.
But
yeah,
supposedly the quote, he was saying that how they're supposed to remake it and how it's just like the worst fucking thing ever. He's like, I can't believe fuck that. Like it's gonna be polished shit. And I'm like, man, if that was true, fucking called it. I mean, I'm still gonna see it just because now I'm kind of curious, like how bad it is.
I mean, same. But I will say, of all genres, horror is the one that opening reviews sometimes can just be like dog shit. But generally in movies where they spend this much money and are filmed at this level, they're at least at a 45%, 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. This isn't it 20%?
Yeah,
it's something really low,
super low.
dumb low. It's like Chris Kattan movie low.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
But there's usually people that are defending the pile of shit and being like, "No, it's fucking great. It's so awesome. Nobody knows what they're talking about." But the popular consensus is, "Wow, this thing was terrible." So I'm curious now. It has piqued my curiosity to see how bad it is. Watch me fucking love it though. Watch me be that person that's what? I don't know what everyone's talking about. It was great. Leave the Exorcist believer alone.
Dark and the Wicked had kind of shitty critic reviews.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was high critic reviews, low audience score. But it was one of them was low, and I was like, what the fuck?
Right. I could see that. But man, yeah. I mean, that's been all my feed all day, especially any of the horror feeds have just been like, God, how shitty a movie is.
I saw one publication, little clickbait headline, and it was like The Exorcist, whatever it is, hellishly bad remake. I was like, is that a good description or hellishly bad in a good way or hellishly bad in a bad way? I was like, damn it, they got me. And I had to fucking click and find out. I'm like, oh no, they meant bad isn't bad, not Michael Jackson bad,
Yeah. Man, that sucks.
Well, the thing is too, is even if this is kind of a serviceable horror movie across the board, they made it an Exorcist film.
Right.
Yeah.
So right there, off the bat, everyone's going to judge it on a totally different level.
Yep.
It's just like the Evil Dead stuff or anything else, the Halloween movies. Once you take one of these franchises, and this one especially because they made a big fucking deal about it, there hasn't been one of these forever. You're already starting at a deficit, so you better come in swinging. And if you don't, that's going to be it. And if they fuck this up, they're not really going to be able to gain these people back. And now they've spent 400 million on this franchise. What the fuck are they going to do with it if this sucks?
Blue 400 million. Yeah.
Showtime series.
Jesus.
And
the margin for error is so thin. It's so small from the jump. So that's crazy.
I feel like in horror that's less true than anything else. I feel like horror fans are the most supporting fan base you can get out there. But
we want it to be good. We want it to be good.
You say, buy rights for 400 million, and then you put all this studio money behind it and all that. It's not just pitching the hardcore fans. They're trying to get kind of the more casuals and all that.
Yep.
And I think that's where it's less forgiving.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I thought the TV show was good, and that got canceled.
The TV show,
I think after the third season, Gina Davis was in the first season. The first season was great. The second season and third really got off into this love story kind of, and I was like, is this The Exorcist or is this just about a gay priest? Which is fine too, because I am cool with that storyline, but there still need to be possessions and supernatural stuff.
Well, that's
happening
where
more.
I mean, that's where every, I guess, horror series goes wrong if they keep wanting to extend it. I mean, there's only so much material. The Walking Dead, it was just let's make it about the people, which is fine, but
I mean, I think they could have kept it about the priest, but then like maybe he's in a different place each season and he's like
Right.
traveling to like take out all these demons or whatever and turned it like,
that's the thing though, is there's
you
some
know, a
things that
fun
have,
thing.
you know, a pretty decent, you know, life to them. Like well,
Mhm.
a lot of people can get possessed. So I mean,
Right.
how many times did I watch fucking Quantum Leap or fucking Sliders or fucking, you know,
Totally.
insert
Yeah.
all these other, you know, serial whatevers like that can be really interesting because, you know, vastly different people could be possessed. You know,
Yeah.
that right there gives you like, you know, a lot of liberty to change the story up, you know, because a possession in a, you know, a devoutly Catholic Mexican home is very different than, you know, a possession in like a Mormon household or like an atheist, you know, whatever, overseas or all these different
Totally.
things
Yeah.
to do. There's, you know, just with the
Yeah.
supporting characters can make it a lot interesting. So, I mean, I get it, but also like I feel like it's real cheap
Yeah.
to love story route. It's like that's all you had, bro.
Yeah. Oh,
Sure.
man.
There's a
Well,
TV show right now called Evil that I think is great, and
Yeah, I love that
doesn't
one.
have they take a premise that goes, I mean, fuck, look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer. How many fucking seasons did that thing have?
Yeah.
And that didn't. I mean, they came up with the dumbest storylines ever, and people
I
oh,
always
still
which
eat
is
forget.
that
which
shit
is
up.
funny because Elijah Dushku, who was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is in Wrong Turn. Look at that.
I
That's
always
true.
forget that there was a decent movie that started that whole fucking series.
Yeah. You know, I
That
watched like
that
the
had little
first,
to do with it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the first two seasons, maybe even the first season was good. The second
Yeah,
season
yeah.
was all right. And then once it started getting after that, I was like, you know, the love story between Spike and Buffy, an
Right.
angel or whatever, which spun off to an angel.
I ate that shit up.
Which is wild.
I rewatched it recently because we always have something on while we're falling asleep, and Christian just falls asleep to it, and I
Yeah.
end up staying up later and watch it. So we went through that series again, and it was funny. I actually liked it more now. It is so dumb, but I remember back in the day when I watched it. Once I got to the episode where like Buffy was invisible but having sex with Spike, I was like, okay, I can't watch this anymore. I don't even know what the fuck is happening now.
Well, you know, funny you say that. Looking back at it now and then watching True Blood, I'm thinking it was True Blood was very similar to Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the later seasons.
Oh, it was just more
I
like
never
I
could
would
get
rather
into that show.
masturbate to True Blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas Buffy, I was laughing at it.
Right. But it, they
sure,
both
same thing.
were like that first season or two was a little more serious, and then it just got campy, which
Yeah.
I liked the later seasons of True Blood because it was so campy and stupid.
Same. It was much more entertaining.
Yeah.
I just
And the
couldn't,
character development I thought was better.
I
Right.
couldn't get down with dude that was always like, suck it.
Oh,
I'm like, really? Like that's just you almost had me, but then when he
Oh,
started,
that's
like,
her husband.
suck it.
in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, they got married because that meeting on that show.
Oh, he really meant that then.
R.I.P.
yeah, they're still
Lafayette.
together. They have kids together. Yeah. Oh, Lafayette was so great. I love that man.
Best character on the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe
Yeah, that
Jason
show was great.
Stackhouse too. He was because he was just an idiot, which was hilarious.
He was. And then and then his like gay love scene too was
Yeah.
that whole storyline was amazing. And then he was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that show just pulled out all the stops.
Uh-huh. As soon
But
as you
it was
get some
also super
fairies
hot,
in there,
so-
as soon as the fairies start coming through the door,
Fairies.
man.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
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 There was all kinds of shit. I was like, what the fuck is going on in this TV show? Everything, apparently.
Everything. All
Everything.
those, though, I feel like that's what they have to do to keep going. You
Yeah.
know, all of a sudden there's a vortex or, monster coming out of the earth.
Something.
Something.
Yeah.
Always something.
So, yeah, that's all my
so
horror
yeah,
news. Yeah.
Okay. So mine are just like two little blurbs to kind of about people I don't know. So this first one I was excited about because it's a monster movie.
Okay.
and we need more monster movies.
Yes.
And I watched the trailer, and the monster looks cool. The cast, I'm not sure about. Some look like Tara Reid level
Mm.
ish. But it's a Loch Ness horror movie. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, and look up the trailer. Like, it actually looks pretty cool. The monster looks cool. Like, they spent money on that. But yeah, they, in all the 3 articles I found about it, they like pump up that it's Tyler Adams' next movie, but on IMDb, like, he has done no movies, or no one by that name has done any movies. There's
Interesting.
one person by that name that's a director that's done some music videos,
Okay.
but only for one artist, and I think that he's associated with that artist. So
Huh.
I don't know if Tyler Adams is a
I mean,
fake name.
I feel like
Maybe.
that's
This
like
is
a
some
marketing
sort of money
campaign that I
laundering
would
thing.
do.
But yeah, if anyone out there knows who Tyler Adams is, who directed this, let me know, because my Googles aren't Googling. And
You tried Bing?
and it seems like,
Yeah, you got to duck go it.
yeah,
Or-
maybe.
Or Brave.
And like, from the trailer, like, it has some money in it, so I'd be surprised if this person hasn't done anything. But and they are really pushing that fans of the Meg and Tremors will want to check this out. So I don't know why movies throw those names out if they can't compare to them, so they better compare to them, because the guy just did it. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
That's interesting, though.
Um,
There's surprisingly a lack of monster movies about the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah. And this one it's not big screen. It's going straight to digital November 7th. But I have to say, at least the action scenes I saw, it looks like it might be cool. Acting, not so much. But maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
So the other one, too, which was interesting. So this is just a proof of concept trailer that was created. And if you guys don't know, I know the people on this podcast know, but if you people listening don't know what that is, a lot of times when filmmakers have an idea, they will put a group together and film like a short. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's up to 20 minutes, but it's just kind of trying to show the concept. Usually it's on the shorter side, and so they can sell it to a studio to pick it up, a producer, whatever. So this trailer is out. It's just the proof of concept trailer. And it's called Casper. And it is,
About the
it's
ghost?
Basically, yes, it's basically like an alternate timeline sort of movie, or multiverse sort of movie, as if like Casper was bad.
Okay. So kind of like a Brightburn, but Casper edition.
And it has that Brightburn kind of feel. The colors in it are like sepia. It looks, I don't know, you guys should check it out. It looks like it has some legs on it. I'm curious to see if it gets picked up. But
Funny,
I mean, a lot of
Casper
times
never
proof
had
of concepts don't. I mean, you know what I mean.
Did they
But a lot
Sonic
of
the
times
Hedgehog, the
proof
model?
of concept never go live. So no,
Yeah,
God, that would be
that's true.
awful. So maybe it'll get picked up. But I'm
Did they show
excited a little bit.
the Casper ghost though in the proof of concept?
This doesn't look like Casper.
I mean, I couldn't imagine how it could though. You know,
It kind of alludes. I don't want to give it. I mean, it doesn't say much, but it kind of alludes to finding out Casper's backstory. Like someone moves into a house, and it's like a kid who lived there who died.
That sounds interesting
And
too.
maybe he's not as friendly as the friendly ghost, you know.
What's the
I
name
always
of
thought
that one?
Casper was a little bitch, so Casper.
Oh, Casper.
too.
And what about the Loch Ness one?
Loch Ness.
All right then.
Right.
Simple.
Right
You know
on.
what?
Keeping it
They're-
simple for everyone right
they're
now.
probably going to be awesome. They're just like, let's just keep it simple, guys.
Sorry, it's called the Loch Ness Horror.
Which is also good. I like that too.
Yeah.
It's a good name. Well,
Have
those
y'all-
both sound
But yeah,
interesting.
Nessie looks cool. I mean, I think I like seeing monsters, so I would watch it. But yeah,
Have y'all
check out the
seen
proof of
this,
concept trailer.
Have y'all seen this new cartoon that they just released? It's called Fright Crew.
Oh,
Fright
yeah.
Crew?
Yeah, we
Yes,
just talked about that
we
one.
talked
Yeah.
about it last episode.
I've been watching it.
How is it?
It's
I
good,
watched
man.
the first one last night.
It's well, I'm a sucker
Maybe the
for
first and
all
second.
voodoo shit.
Mhm.
Like, I had a mushroom trip of like 8 grams, and it, like threw me into a whole voodoo world with fucking Papa Shango and shit. And ever since then, I've been kind of obsessed. So it's feeding my soul right now. But it's definitely geared for probably 12 to 16-year-olds. But it's pretty cool.
It definitely has the like Scooby Doo vibe.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's not
Grown
real
up.
pussy.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, it's a little bit more, intense.
Mature.
With lots of blood.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told E that we need to do an episode on it.
Yeah.
Or I suggested to E because I wouldn't tell him we had to. Not
you got to do it.
I actually think that it's recorded on the last episode so everyone can hear how I suggested it, but sure.
That's exactly how it was.
We better do it because
if we don't do it, I'm going to be so mad and you're never going to hear the end of this. We better fucking do it.
That's me. That's me right there.
I do like.
Just wait till this stops recording, buddy. We're gonna talk later.
Yeah. I do like when movies do like the Brightburn thing or the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey route by going like the evil way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's cool. And everyone always talks about how Peter Pan, like that whole story.
Oh yeah.
That
like
one's coming out from the
it?
Winnie the Pooh people. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Well, then awesome.
There you go.
At least I think it's them.
Better, hopefully. But
To the good guys.
I just think that's such a better arc or way to do it, like reboot a movie or a franchise or do something different than, all right, well, let's just make them fucking evil and just disgusting.
Oh,
Well, and most of those old stories, if you just read them, like they're fucking scary.
Mm-hmm.
They could do a Nightmare on Elm Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood crossover.
There you go. Turn Freddy nice.
Nightmare in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
That'd be funny.
I mean, Mr.
They both
Rogers
wear
is pretty
sweaters,
terrifying if you watch it now.
Fred
That's
Rogers was a goddamn saint. Right,
That man
He
Pittsburgh.
was, but he's terrifying. Watch it as an adult. That fucking like those puppets.
Oh yeah. Miss Elaine or Lady Elaine, whatever the fuck that weird puppet was always terrifying.
Mm-hmm. And we all know someone like that.
Oh yeah.
We've all met that person when we were a kid, and we were like,
yeah, that thing was so freaky.
The nose.
The nose, like, and it had the complexion of someone that's always drunk. You know, those drunk people that are just always
the red nose, and the red
just
cheeks,
flushed.
shiny. Yeah,
I'm like, oh my god. Anyone got anything else
about it?
No. All right.
No, I don't think so.
Well, that's been all right. So the Remake Rumble, it's here for Wrong Turn now. Yeah. Okay. There's so much to say about both of these, or you could say about both of them.
Fuck yes.
Do we want to start? Do you want to start off with the remake, what we liked and what we didn't like, or start off with the original?
I feel like we should do like what we liked about each one.
Okay. Like side by side.
Or do you think we should partition it? Yeah.
I mean, I think we do it. We
are comparing the remakes.
Yeah. I mean, we've done it different each time we've done one of these. So however you want to do it, that's the fun of these. Like, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I don't care.
Right. Well, you want to read the synopsis to the first one, and I'll read the synopsis to the second one?
Sure. Let me pull it up.
And I can't read.
You are a guest. You're not allowed to read synopsises.
Oh man, this is a long one.
I'm just kidding. You can if you want. Oh, don't do a long one.
It's
Here, here, I'll tell you the synopsis. Wrong Turn from 2003, right? 2003.
Yeah.
Is a horror version of Dawson's Creek on the Appalachian Trail.
There you go. All right. I found a see, none of these. Okay, this is kind of it. Chris and a group of 5 friends are left stranded deep in the middle of the woods after their cars collide. As they venture deeper into the woods, they face an uncertain and blood-curdling fate, which is basically hillbilly mutants, and then they have to get away from them. So that's the plot of the first one, of the original. Okay, so we're doing the likes after you read the other synopsis, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
The synopsis, like, I don't really think is very accurate either, but despite warnings to stick to the Appalachian Trail, hikers stray off course and cross into land inhabited by a hidden community of mountain dwellers who use deadly means to protect their way of life. Suddenly, under siege, the friends seem headed to the point of no return unless one man can reach them in time. They're making him sound like a bigger hero than he is.
Yeah.
Matthew Modine, just fucking say his name. I wonder if he wrote this one.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like, I've been an asshole in every movie. I am going to be a hero.
What's up with him? He played it just like he plays the Doctor in Stranger Things, which is so weird to me. Like everyone else is kind of playing it straight, and he's like, "Hey, oh," I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like whoever wrote that family dynamic needs to see like a therapist, or is like an orphan.
Yeah, it was weird. Okay, so who wants to go first with the likes?
Mills, you want to go?
Okay, let's see. So I watched the new one first because I hadn't seen that one. And, I liked a lot of the costume design for this. First of all, the stories aren't the same. You know? The only similarities is that you have a bunch of co-eds lost in the woods and they start dying. You know, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And so what I did like that they did very well is they made a cast of characters that I could not wait to see get picked off. Like they made some of the most unlikable human beings and
agreed,
threw them up for folly, for murder in some spectacular ways. The first kid getting crushed by the tree was pretty great. You know, I mean, it was predictable. I was waiting for it to be like, you know, because I was thinking, you know, of the old movie first. I was like, okay, well that wasn't an accident. That was a booby trap. And now, oh, shit's about to start.
Right.
Motherfucker, it was an accident. Which, I mean,
no, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't an accident.
I thought it was an accident. Did I miss that? Oh, my fault.
After there's like another bad thing that happens, remember they look to the girl, the main girl, and are like, you said you saw somebody when the tree fell, and then you said you saw someone again at this point. And she's like,
I heard that.
Why didn't you say anything?
I didn't know that there was like confirmation that it was like intentional.
I mean, I guess there's not confirmation, but
yeah. I see what you're saying. It definitely could. They left it kind of ambiguous. Like, well, because the thing is, like, for me, I thought that they were leading that up to like incriminate the forest dwellers more than, because, you know, like when they start
right,
you know, attacking old boy. I mean, they did look very suspicious, you know, dressed in all their fucking antler shit and carrying dude on a stake. But I had interpreted it as it was just, you know, all miscommunications. They, you know, it was an accident, even if they saw people, and then they just started attacking these people. So they were the wrongdoers, and they really deserved to die. So I was like rooting for them. Like, oh yeah, you guys are all fucked up. You definitely deserve to die.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, that's my favorite part. Oh, I did like how the country guys came to save him in the end. You know, the haters at the bar.
Yep.
You know, enemy of my enemy is my enemy, or my friend.
Yeah,
that's the quote. That was kind of cool. You know, because you're expecting these country hillbillies to be the bad guys, but it wasn't even them. So it was a nice misdirection, because you definitely, especially with this being a remake, are expecting, you know, them to be complicit and
for how they set it up.
Oh, for sure.
because it was
Mhm.
2021, so everyone's all fucking woke or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, they got American flags. Oh, they love the Confederacy. I was like, what? But yeah, so they
Yeah.
definitely set it up that way. But it was nice to see that. Don't judge a book by its cover.
And I've got to throw in this because it's technically a like, but it's also a dislike, and it has nothing to do with the movies themselves. But oh my God, I can't do any movie that is set in a beautiful ass forest and take the horror seriously, because I'm like, wow, this is really lovely. I'd love to go for a hike through here, and I get distracted because I like forests a lot. Happened on both of them. I was like, damn, they're trying to like set up the scene, and I'm like admiring nature and shit.
Yeah, it's supposed to represent the contrast.
I love hiking in forests and think they're beautiful and live in one, but they are scary as fuck. Too.
They can be.
So
They can be.
they
Yeah. All right. So what do you like?
You live in a forest?
I mean, I have. Yeah.
Do you live in a forest? You have?
Not now. But
Okay.
I mean, I grew up in them.
They're scary.
They totally can be. I agree with you.
Actually, in Pennsylvania, mountain people are the scariest.
Yeah.
Mountain people in general, I think. Okay, mountain people and swamp people are the two most terrifying groups of people in America.
Yeah.
Yeah, but swamp people, I feel like we come together because of food, and like they love like this like kind of bonding and eating thing, whereas
It depends
like
on how
mountain
deep in the
people
swamp you get.
PA are just like have like black lung and
Yeah.
They're just
They're all
homeless
mutants.
people living in the fucking woods is what they are. Like, I'm gonna build this fucked up
They're
shack
scary.
in the side of the hill, and anyone that comes near me, because every kid back there, at least through the 80s and early 90s, would go, let's go fucking adventure through the woods. Oh shit, look, there's a shack. Let's go in it. And
Yeah.
that could turn out real bad, and sometimes does.
Well, no, totally. I mean, I just, it was funny because like Christian, my husband, is from Pennsylvania,
Mhm.
and he poked fun at me, for being born in Pensacola and having like a lot of cousins in the swamp and lower Alabama and like out in the middle of nowhere. And I've lived, so does he, a lot of places in the US. And so I was like, yeah, it gets really bad. And then when we first
Y'all
went to
argue
visit
which
mom,
one is the best Pensa?
no, not
Pennsylvania,
about what's the
Pensacola.
best. No, we never have, about how scary the people are.
Yeah.
And we never talked about Pennsylvania because I like had only been to cities there and didn't really know. And then we went to visit his mom, and we stopped to get gas in this like mountain town with all these like shut down like coal mines.
Mm.
And I like went to go to the bathroom, and it was much like the first Wrong Turn movie situation. And I was just like, and I just remember I walked out, and there were these like filthy kids with no teeth, like literally singing some song. Like if they would have had a banjo, I would have just been out of there.
Deliverance
But
type
I was
shit.
like, where the fuck did you stop? Thinking he was just like stopping somewhere to fuck with me. And he was like, oh, have you never been in the mountains in PA? I'm like, fuck no. And he's like, oh, it's mountain people. And I'm like, this is fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah,
the
they're
handwritten
weirdos.
signs, it was just
Yeah.
like, it was weird.
They have some good corn though. So
There
what do
was
you like?
some-
Yeah.
That's a good corn.
I like cones.
What'd you like about the first one, the original?
It works as a movie,
Mhm.
like it's not super original, but that fear of the other, and running into mountain people and West Virginia folk. Was the second one West Virginia, or was it regular Virginia?
It was
First one was West Virginia.
Right.
First- yeah.
Sure. I feel like the second one was like Virginia.
it was Virginia.
Yeah. And I've lived in Virginia,
Right.
and Virginia is way less
That's
terrifying than West Virginia.
that's yeah.
There's definitely some weird, like the mountains in Virginia are nice though.
Yeah. That's-
Which
I've-
explains why like dude in the remake's beard was way nicer than mine. And I
right.
take pride in my beard. I'm like, damn, bro, you in
Yeah.
the woods and your shit look that good?
Yeah. I have something to say about that and
Yeah.
touching on it, so I'll elaborate later.
But the first one works as a movie. I mean, shout out to homeboy from Dexter, because like I started watching, I was like, that dude looks familiar as that's the cop from fucking
Clueless
Dexter.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
One of the friends.
in general, the acting is on par for movies of that time. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like, I mean, currently when I was watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is how people used to act back then. We used to
Yeah.
think cool. So
Yeah.
it feels a little dated now, but I remember watching it back in the day, and it was on point. I liked a lot of the setup they did. Number one, they started killing people quick,
Yep.
which is always good, you know, and they delay showing the offenders for long enough, you know, other than, you know, like silhouette shots and like stuff that's out of focus enough to kind of build up that tension. And then, you know, when you see these fucking mountain mongoloids, you know, you know, it's like the worst shit that you can imagine, which is fun. I
Yeah.
mean, having seen a bunch of episodes of Soft White Underbelly and Inbred Mountain Folk, I mean, they weren't that far off though.
Facts.
But that was good. They did some fun, interesting things, like, you know, the tower and the fucking the forest tower,
Mm-hmm.
and burning it and having to jump. I mean, I it was an interesting take on it. Done fairly well at certain points. You know, other points it was not fairly well, but I mean, it felt like a fresh idea, a fresh spin on locations. You know, because if you're gonna have like running through the forest getting picked off, yeah, what's a way to spice it up, make it a little more interesting? That was
Right.
that was a pretty good move on their part for that.
All
And
right.
then I felt like it wrapped up in a succinct, kind of believable way. Like you know, sufficient people died. Nobody was like randomly some fucking Rambo Stallone type out of nowhere.
Yeah.
um,
Well, yeah.
a little bit,
Yeah,
Little
what
but
are you talking about?
Yeah.
They literally took her right from Buffy and gave her that same role and made her Rambo.
Yeah.
yeah. And then you had, you know, the cop showing up and you're like, yeah, he's gonna get saved. I always love it when you have that little bit of hope and then, you know, they get taken out.
Yeah.
That was fun. And then when they made their escape and the last cop got taken out, that was also great because I like watching cops get murdered. So
Right.
I mean, I don't mean that like
Oh.
in a real life type thing, but in movies. Like I said, these are guys you're like, ah, yes, we're saved. In real life, you're like, oh no. But
Mills, that's a sweet ACAB tattoo you have. Is that new?
I fully believe that all cops are bastards.
Oh, I
But
thought
in
that.
movies, because you know they're quite often, you
I-
know, pitched as the saviors. I always love it because you're like you have that little taste of hope, and then it's snuffed out. It's so much fun. So
Yeah,
I like
I
all
agree.
that.
That was a good
The
little.
gore was good. There was a lot to like. I was watching it over. I was surprised at how much still tracked. So it was a good watch. I liked it.
All right. Well, who, Juliet, do you want to go next? My likes are short, so maybe save mine
Okay.
for last.
Sure. The original movie, it's funny that it's in the 2000s because it's so very 90s, but we've talked
Yeah.
about this before. I think up
Mhm.
until like 2008, it's still like in that zone. And this is literally, it has the cast of like everybody I couldn't stand in a
Yeah.
bunch of movies around that time. So the fact that they're all killed pretty swiftly was nice.
Yeah.
I do think that this is kind of at the start of what was to become the like torture porn horror trend, or
Yeah,
what people
can see
call
that.
that. This one obviously being on the lighter end, but I think it was definitely kind of a gateway to that in some of the scenes, like in the house and stuff like that. I think like this movie kind of paved the way for things like Texas Chainsaw to come back.
For sure.
Like after this, you saw, I think, because Wolf Creek was after this, wasn't it? I think it was a few years after,
Yeah, it wasn't too far
maybe around the
behind.
same time. But for a while, we didn't see stuff like that. Like you had kind of the exploitation time period of films and like some slashers, and then it kind of died off, and you got way more of like the poltergeisty haunted house, slow burn psychological stuff into some like campy stuff, and like real cheesy 90s stuff. And then this was one of the first ones that I felt brought back the gore aspect. So I like it for that, even though I don't particularly love this movie at all. Like the what is it? One eye, three finger, and
Yeah.
I don't know what they call that. I forget what they call the other
Sawtooth.
one. It's just like, oh yeah, sawtooth. It's just so hokey. It's like if you I feel like it's the poor man's Hills Have Eyes.
Yes,
Totally.
No, we're on
and
likes,
I even
Courtney. You're cheating.
Yeah.
what
We're
am
on
I
likes. You're cheating.
I liked, well, okay, that's still all right.
Poor man's Hills Have
I
Eyes
was
isn't
gonna
bad.
yeah,
Let's
sorry.
just say it's hard
But I
to
was gonna
talk
say,
about these movies without.
right, you have to, and in
Yeah.
any of these, you have to create false sentences that are truthful. And I like the remake of The Hills Have Eyes better than this movie. But
Oh,
like if you look at it as more of like this silly, gory movie, it's great. So like I think things I like about it now is because it does feel dated, but it seems silly when you watch it, and I
Yeah.
like that. It has that kind of like feeling when you watch an 80s campy movie to me now.
Right.
A little less like that because I'm annoyed by the weird 90s shit and just like the
right.
people's
Like with his little
attitudes.
fucking
But
flip phone, and I was laughing. I'm like, oh yeah,
oh,
there's no
dude,
GPS. You fucking. I'm like, oh no.
and
You're
his dumb long sleeve button up shirt that's too baggy and unbuttoned all the way.
everything.
And
And
I'm
his
like,
Everything
Josh
about
Homme
it.
music that he's bumping.
okay, yeah, no,
That's-
it's just awful.
Oh, that's the thing that sucks.
But that's also I think that's our age though. You know what I mean? And like our generation, because we weren't like those kids. So like when we watch it, we're like, oh, these are the people we hated growing up. You
Yeah,
know?
I
But I
loved
mean,
all of it. I was like, ugh.
But it kind of
They
sucks because, like, I grew up in the 80s. So, like,
Same.
yeah. But I mean, you can like relate. But even people in the 70s or the 60s, like, there's something charming about when you watch things from back then. The 90s through like the mid 2000s, when you go back and watch, it's not even charming. Like, oh, look at that flip phone. That's cute. Like, I remember those days in like a fond memory. You're like, ugh, like everything's so gross.
Like, did you?
I don't know. Like
when
I think
the
movies like
redhead with her tiny eyebrows, I was like,
Oh, yeah.
those are like offensively fucking small.
oh yeah, but they used to be that way. But
Yeah.
there are
Yeah,
90s movies
everybody.
that are charming. Like I think Empire Records and Clueless are charming in their own way. They're
Like
super fucking
Airheads, I
annoying,
guess.
but they're
I'd have
still
to
charming.
rewatch
Airheads,
them.
totally,
Yeah.
definitely Airheads.
But
But yeah, most
that was,
of it,
yeah.
especially that like preppy high school shit,
Right.
is
Right.
just
That's
like,
that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
like Liv Tyler in Empire Records. I just wanted
Right.
to kill her that whole movie. You're
Yeah.
like, just shut the fuck up.
yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Sorry.
Okay, so that's what I liked about the old one. The new one, I was really pleasantly surprised because I thought it was just going to be the old one, but with annoying stuff that goes on now. Which the
Interesting.
characters, for sure, they capture that. Like
Right.
they're all tropes and they all have their own,
Yes.
things that you're like, these fucking people think they're better than everyone, and they're not. But I loved the like foundation or the society. I don't really want to call them a cult, but maybe they are. Whatever, we'll call them a cult. But maybe I've drank in that Kool-Aid, so I don't want to call them a cult.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them a cult. I would call them like a community.
I mean,
Yeah.
your husband is a Pennsylvania Dutch, so I wouldn't think that you would talk bad about his cousins out there in the mountains.
Yeah.
What's crazy about my No, what's fucked up about my husband's family is where his last name's about to die. Like he only has one set of cousins that live out here. Everyone else is overseas. They're Prussian.
That's
So
crazy.
they all live in either Germany or Poland.
Hmm.
Whole sky.
Oddly enough. Like it's actually kind of sad because well actually one cousin had a kid. So and like there'll be one Malzatsky that lives on in the US, but it's a name that will actually die out. But anyways, I would totally say if he was Pennsylvania Dutch. I have a whole bunch of Pennsylvania Dutch stuff in my kitchen. My favorite is this kitchen round I have that are two people, a boy and a girl kissing, and it says kissing wears out, but cooking doesn't.
Yeah.
And it says it in Dutch and English.
What's funny is I was
it's over
being
my stove.
sarcastic as a motherfucker. I'm like,
Oh, I
huh,
know.
nobody
No, I
laughed.
know. No, it is funny, but it gave me an opportunity to say how weird it is that it's like I have this last name now and his people are just gonna like not be killed, but not continue on. It was weird like when we started dating because you Google people and I'm like, what the fuck? Nobody has his last name in the US? Like, what the hell? It's weird. And then I went from a super easy last name to a fucking crazy one. But so the thing that I like about this is yes, the cult or whatever they are. And yeah, I like Pennsylvania Dutch people too. I like that they're like not
Dutch
idiots.
ovens. Right.
Yeah. They choose to live this way. They like go and sell their shit to whoever, but they like go back, have their shit. Like they're sustaining. They've been able to sustain. They have like a hierarchy. They're like an evolved community in their own way. And I have to say, Venable, like the head guy, like wants to take him as her whatever. Like he's fucking hot.
Yeah.
If I was ever going to be abducted and all my friends killed, yes. If I was going to be abducted and all my friends killed, if I had to pick old wrong turn or new wrong turn,
Oh yeah, definitely
willing for new wrong turn. In fact, like that whole like court case scene and everything else, like even, I mean, the first couple words, I was like, yeah,
you're like,
I can
yes,
deal with
sir.
This isn't a big deal. Like, yeah, a couple people will die. We're
Like
fine.
things could totally be worse.
I can chop down trees, right? I can forage. This will be okay. I don't need my laptop anymore. It's it's great. Which actually, like I think I saw this in the theater. I think I was thinking that too while I was watching it. Like, yeah, I could give up modern life for a while, and then
Like
maybe
when she was like,
just like
you guys
hang out
never
every
leave
once
the
in a while.
mountain, and they're like, who would want to leave the mountain? I was like, I feel you.
Yeah, they weren't necessarily wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but definitely Bill Sage has daddy vibes, and I'm not.
I'm mad about it.
I'm not. No,
You don't
fine.
have to
Like,
be either.
So, like, I liked that about it. I also liked, as Mills was talking about, that they made you unsure if, like, fuck, maybe even though they had the guy hogtied or like tied to a fucking pole, like maybe they weren't going to hurt him. They were going to like treat his wounds or whatever. And then the guy freaked out and killed them, and they're good people. They're not. They totally would have done some shit. I believe 100%. But it's good because it plays that on your mind, and they made them kind of likable. Yeah. So that's the stuff, and the costuming, and dude, that fucking chair Venable had.
Oh yeah,
that was cool as shit.
Mm-hmm.
With the antler, like I would have that in my house in a second. If if these people were selling things other than bracelets at the market, I would buy their shit.
Right.
I'd buy all their shit. And I'd probably convince one of them to have a drink with me every once in a while, just to be like, so what's going on the mountain? Like, what kind of shit are you guys getting into?
How's the
Tell
community
me all about
doing?
it. Any teenagers hiking lately?
Yeah. They really get on my nerves.
That's what I got.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
It'd be a shame if they
exactly.
disappeared. Get what I'm saying? Nudge, nudge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's what I got for likes.
All right. My turn. So the OG.
Say something nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
This is stuff
I'm gonna
you
try.
like, E.
All right. So the original, I did like the gore and the effects and the villains actually, because it was just a throwback to The Hills Have Eyes. Like I like
Yeah.
mutant fucking hillbilly people. I'm like, okay,
Totally.
that's cool. I can dig on that. The premise, again, super simple, straight to the point. Mutant hillbillies, got it. The pace was good. And again, just the simplicity of the movie, I really enjoyed. As for the remake, they had the song Black Cadillac, which is a dope fucking song in it. So it's like
That's true.
awesome. And
That's all you're gonna say.
yeah,
Isn't it?
and like Mill said, almost, and like Mill said before, all those fucking jagoff kids
Oh my
got
God.
like it. It was great because I hated all of them, and I know they set it up that way. I get it.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
That's part of the delight of horror that horror gives you is like, you know, I don't
Sometimes,
want every horror movie to do that, but you know, I appreciate it when they do. It's like, oh,
exactly.
I'm already rooting for the other motherfuckers.
Yeah. Yeah. And if this was a different movie and not
Wrong Turn.
Wrong Turn, I would have liked the story a little bit better.
Yeah.
But as a remake of a movie, I'm just thinking to myself,
Why?
this isn't anything like Wrong Turn. I want some mutant fucking rednecky hill people. That's what I want. I didn't get that. Instead, I got like articulate things. So
Yeah.
as a separate movie, the story would have been fine.
You got fucking congressmen from the 1800s.
and on that, I'm
Do
gonna
us not bear false witness.
You totally. I'm
Our
gonna
lean line will be stricken down.
I'm gonna segue into the things I didn't like.
Yes.
About them, starting with the remake. Okay, and I know it was set up for you to not like the kids, and was 2021, and I know how the times are now.
Wait.
What?
I forgot to say the old one and new one used a bunch of the same actors, and I like that.
Yeah.
That is cool. I always like when they do that.
Like the bad guys and stuff.
Right.
They did a lot of throwback and brought them
And I
back.
love when they give a little shout out to the source.
Yep. So okay, so that's three things I liked
the
about.
skullhead guy was the one of the hillbilly mutants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's cool. But
and there's some others.
Yeah, I'm just, maybe it's because I'm out here in California and I just see it so much in just online and just everything. Like, I just hate these people. Like, the overbearing, like, just, I know it all. I type fucking yuppie, weird. I'm an activist
all the time.
Yeah, I'm an activist, but like, I really don't give a shit.
Gave them moments to where like they got one over with their snark on these hillbillies. I was like,
yeah.
When he starts talking about the color of his eyes in like a shitty way, I'm like, dude, this guy probably works like 15 hours a day. Like, you could have said that nicer and been like, hey, by the way, like,
or not at all.
You should see someone. Well, no, you can mention it, but like not in that like I got one up on you way. Just like quietly and not in front of the group later. Like, hey, just so you know, I noticed your eyes are a little yellow and cloudy. Like, you should get looked at. It might be your liver. Let me buy you a drink.
Right.
I'm so happy to be
well,
in
also,
town.
she wasn't even the doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was like just some random.
Well,
like,
I mean,
that seemed way out of pocket too. Like, okay, whatever.
That's the thing.
But
like,
that's how people are.
Kind of.
If they're sitting at a table with someone in med school, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah,
right."
I'm sitting with somebody who's this. Like, I'm going to tell you about your fucking life."
But the thing is, it's like, sure, they might say that in the comfort of their own area or act that way in the comfort of their, in Brooklyn or wherever the fuck, Berkeley, wherever they might be, where they have that kind of indignant type of behavior. there is no way you're going to go into a townie bar surrounded by townies and just start popping off like that. Like,
Yeah. They wouldn't have made it that far, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
You wouldn't have
I've seen
started in
some dumb
Maine.
shit in townie bars.
I have too, honestly.
I have too, but
Trust me, I work out in the middle of nowhere in the Catskills, and it's hipster central for like certain areas, but there are some like really, really sketchy places, and hipsters will go in and totally do that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. They don't back where I'm from.
I don't
'cause
know
they'll
if
get
they wouldn't
literally just get fucking punched in the fucking teeth right
You
away.
talk about the Rust Belt. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, most of them get their tires slashed and their windows busted out. But
Yeah, but they won't even do that.
They're
They'll just
still
fucking
dumb as
grab them by
fuck.
the throat and fucking mouth fuck them right there in the bar. Like, don't fucking talk to me like that. So I don't see that shit. I don't even see it out here in California when they go into like the hood. They don't
Yeah.
walk into the fucking bar and just start like, whoa, fucking, be acting all indignant because they know they'll get fucking shot or something,
Yeah.
So that shit bothers me. But anyway, there's a lot more stuff to get to about this.
but the
movie that
guy
I don't-
did go to their table first.
He did.
It's true.
So at least that was accurate. As much as I thought the story was okay if it was a separate movie, there's just a lot to it, like a lot of turns. I'm like, wait, what, where are we going now? And then the whole like history of the
Yeah.
of the hill people, I'm like, oh, okay, so we're getting like a long
They
history
said 12
lesson now.
families, right?
Right
12 families. And what annoys me is like both of these movies had stereotypical casting of their day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
So like even these hill people were like, oh, we're accepting and diverse. And I was like, okay, yeah, okay. So you have liberated slaves or whatever from the time. Right. You don't care about color. There's 2 black families. So y'all are incestuous like a motherfucker.
Uh-huh.
Because like you came from
yeah.
the 1800s and you only still have like solid black people, then those 2 black families were only breeding with each other, and that's gross. So that's like real gross.
and
That's the only way it stays like that. Here, as 2 beige motherfuckers can tell you.
Right. And the last thing is something you touched on before. Okay. In the original West Virginia, there's some fucking weirdos, but I've been all over Virginia and it's way different than that. I was like, wait, where are they at?
Yeah.
Virginia again?
That's what I thought. Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's possible there's some super weird country folk up in them hills, but I mean, again, it's the Appalachian Mountains, like all the mountain ranges over there are vast, so you don't ever really know. But that close to like town, I'm like, I don't know. People in Virginia seem a little more modernized than.
And maybe that's being progressive, because West Virginia gets harped on a lot. It's like stereotypically bad, but that's the thing is like stereotypes are rooted in a little nugget.
Yeah, well, I mean,
sometimes that nugget's smaller than others.
No,
but, like there really are mountain folks like that.
Oh no, yeah,
and not cannibalistic murderers, but that right. Well, I'm not gonna put that on them. You know what I'm saying? But
no, there might be in West Virginia for sure.
Make you feel discomfort because they look so different.
Yeah, I mean, once you start to get down like south of Pittsburgh, southern, western Pennsylvania towards West Virginia and Ohio and Kentucky, down there. I mean, West Virginia is fucking weird.
It is.
Like it's just fucking weird. There's weirdos there.
Yeah.
It's poor. Like there's some really nice, beautiful scenery, but there are a lot of fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
The Dancing Outlaw, Jessica White, the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. Like, that's fucking real. That's legit.
Yes.
So the jump from those people to
Virginia people,
even more mutant hillbillies, isn't such a jump. But once you start getting over in the Virginia, like, these
I
people
feel
aren't too
like
bad.
the foundation is the Virginia version
Dude,
of
even in
Scary Mountain
Ohio, all of
People.
it's fucking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
So
feel like the foundation was the Virginia version because they were, like I said, like beards better than mine and fucking, you know, like,
oh
but
yeah.
once again, that's not scary at all. Like,
Yep.
Yeah,
there's
but
some
the George Washington
rational,
National Forest is what West Virginia and Virginia, and that shit is scary.
yeah.
Right. I mean, there's some overlap. I get it, but just generally, I'm like, I don't know. This doesn't seem like Virginia to me. But enough about the remake. The original, okay. This fucking movie. I hated it when I saw it the first time. But there was
Really,
things.
I felt like Eliza Dushku would be your kind of girl.
Oh, I
She's so
hated.
strong.
I
You
hated
like them
her.
douchey girls?
I hated her in Buffy. And then when she was in this one playing the exact same character, I'm like, oh my God, this chick sucks.
She
Like,
got my favorite show canceled recently, so she's on my shit list.
yeah, fuck her. But like right off the bat, she's just a fucking cunt. Like right off the bat. There's not even like a warming up or like, oh,
That's how they flirted in
oh, dude.
no, in movies back then. You know,
Yeah.
slightly bitchy, like aloof, out of reach.
Well,
You
she
know,
wasn't
that
even
was
slightly.
cool.
She was just like,
Right. That's
yeah,
the cool
fuck
way to
you.
flirt.
I fucking
But then,
your shirt sucks, dude.
right,
Like,
right.
Jesus
Totally
Christ.
negative.
You
And then like, oh, he's doctor. Ooh,
yeah.
this guy.
So there's that. And then this is something I've been struggling with when I go back and watch movies from the 90s and to current times is the teens since the 90s, the actors that are portraying them, the
They're in
acting
their
changed.
mid-30s.
Well, with that
Yeah.
too, but the acting changed
Yeah, for sure.
and like the mentality changed. Like even the 80s and the 70s, you know, you still had a lot of like 21, 23-year-olds playing 16, 17-year-olds sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's like back then, like once you turn like 12, 13, you had a job. You were either paper routing or working in the fucking restaurant, your family's restaurant, like doing something. So like your mentality was, I have responsibility. So you're kind of mature in that way. So even if there's like an older actor playing a younger teenager, their mentality is still the same. It seems more genuine, like they were actually playing themselves more, like they weren't acting as the character. It was just them portraying the character. Versus once it gets into the 90s, just the way I guess how they taught people to act, it seemed so much more fake and disingenuous. Like, this is how this 17-year-old is supposed to be acting. So then, oh, I'm a thespian, so this is how I'm going to portray this character and how I think they would act. So it's just,
I really don't think it was even that deep. I think
right.
Like, I think what they were doing is like shit that they would never get away with. Well, no, because they still do it, but like they were typecasting for looks and aesthetics only. Like,
right.
The acting skill didn't matter so much, and what you were getting was like a recycling of skill levels and looks. Like all of those girls wore the same size clothes, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
It's styled exactly the same. Like the difference was hair colors.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And then you had the slutty stoner, you had the about to get married girl, and you had the bad heartbroken girl. Like it's just like really shitty basic writing.
Right. Oh, I mean, definitely. I mean, the writing has a lot to do with it. Just everything.
But that was very typical of a lot of shit back then. And like,
it just seemed like very disingenuous. It just seemed fake.
It seemed very, very fake.
And it's still like that. Like even when you watch movies now, it's
okay. So, but like the new one though felt fake in a very different way. It felt
right.
fake in a very. I'm checking the new boxes, right? Because you've got a wildly diverse cast of your initial people.
Like let's be honest, guys, like too diverse.
But all
You know what I mean?
all of those characters were written by like somebody who's
But I
out
don't
of
know.
touch.
People like that try to hang out in diverse groups. So
Well,
it's not
right.
that
I mean, that's true.
unrealistic.
Like none of
Like the
none of
first
them-
one, they thought they were diverse because one was going on a job interview
Yeah.
with Sydney or whatever.
Yeah.
And like one of the girls wore sweatpants and one only wore jeans.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
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 You know. But like that
Yeah.
second group was wild to me because like I get that like this newer generation is easily to stereotype, but it seems like everybody who wrote those characters, like whoever wrote those characters, has never spent time around younger people.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, I
felt
mean, that's-
like an old
You
crotchety
mean the new one?
Yeah, it felt like an old crotchety man
Huh.
wrote those characters, and like having the dad coming in to save them and be successful. And he's like,
Yeah.
everybody's so whack in the new one. Like the chick, she's just randomly badass. That's cool. Like they gave us no backstory to why she's randomly successful. Like, I have no problem with strong feminine characters, but you could have done like just the tiniest bit of work. Like,
Right.
like she's like an ultra marathoner and her dad's trying to get her to fucking like somebody with some grit, that's not living how their dad wants, and that's the conflict, rather than just somebody who's been taking care of their whole life.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
Well-
there's no way that could happen with somebody that's just had it
Right.
easy.
Right.
I feel
Yeah.
like being able to dig deep and be the final girl, and it's like she was like when her switch fucking when she hit the switch and decided to just start stab fucking everybody and going Rambo on people. I was like, what the fuck? Like, where did this come from? Like,
Well, I mean,
it
that's just
wasn't
like,
a-
but I mean,
wasn't
that's just
even a
like
survival.
I
Elijah.
don't know about that.
But I mean, that's like
She was
Elijah
mad
Dushku.
badass randomly.
But that's like Elijah Dushku. Like
Listen,
she was
no,
just a fucking Rambo
not
from the
random.
jump. No, that's not random. Well, I mean, but it is. I don't know.
No, I'm saying rich girls knowing that isn't random.
Oh,
As
yeah,
someone who
yeah.
has known plenty of rich girls and now works where plenty of rich girls come, their dads take them like
Archery
hunting,
shooting
like
and
I
shit.
mean crazy
Yeah.
shit from the time they're a kid. Like they
Yeah.
know all kinds of stuff. And at private school, you learn fencing, you learn self-defense, you learn all kinds
Yeah.
of stuff. I mean, two of the scariest women I know are very, very well off, and they know how to kill you in 2 seconds and no one ever find you.
Well,
For sure.
So I
sure.
don't think that
Okay.
that's I
Man,
don't think
hey.
that's weird. But to me, it was more weird that she seems like she kind of fought that sort of thing and then embraced it. But like rich people being dangerous, that's not new.
Yeah,
People are
I just
dangerous.
meant the grit. I meant the
Right.
grit that was
Yeah.
required for her situation, which also
Yeah,
could,
Yeah. I
which
mean,
also could be.
I mean, women and hormones and everything else. Like if you go in fight or flight, women are scary too.
I agree with that.
But,
Women,
but yeah,
always are
but some of the archery
terrifying.
stuff I thought was a little.
there. But yeah, so like, I just didn't believe. I didn't believe the characters in either of them. And the original. There's just a lot of unbelievable shit too. Like you touched on the tower scene,
Well, of course.
the jump into
Wait.
the trees. Okay,
Oh
now,
god.
right?
it started off okay, but when they got to Elijah Adushka, and she didn't even jump forward out of this thing. She
No.
jumped like she was about to land on a pad, like
Well, there's-
sideways.
There's
I was
all
like,
kinds
how
of
is
shit.
that gonna
Of course.
work?
There's some good violence in that scene and gore,
Yes, like the
it's
axe.
still-
when
yeah,
he-
but I'm
that was
like,
great when he got
like,
her head.
what?
That was great.
what?
But
whatever.
also, like, it was wildly ridiculous.
Yeah, it was too ridiculous. Like fucking Rambo Buffy. And then the other thing that fucking
God.
really bugged me, and I don't know why, because it was just like a throwaway scene. But so when they're escaping in the truck the first time, it gets stuck and they can't get it out. They're like, oh, and they get out and do the thing and then
Oh,
get back
yeah.
in, and then they just magically are able to get the
Yeah.
truck out stuck in the mud, and then
Oh,
whatever.
there's another time where there was like multiple arrows, or one arrow shot into the thing, and then they're driving away and you see two arrows. And, You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of just like sloppy mistakes in there for sure.
Well,
Uh,
it definitely, when you look back, you're like, okay, this is I mean, every horror movie, for all intents and purposes, has a little bit of action somewhere in it. I get it.
yeah,
And the more monstery
Oh,
ones
totally.
have action, but you could tell this was that mid 90s to early 2000s, like everything's going to be action packed. There's going to be all kinds of heroic deeds done, unbelievably heroic deeds done by the hero or heroine or both or whatever. I was like,
Any
Jesus.
horror movie, though, they always make the protagonist be able to do things they really couldn't fucking do.
Right.
I mean, just like
but-
the bad guys
okay.
do things they
Yeah.
could never do.
but the suspension of disbelief, right? Why does that occur? You know what I'm saying? Because like you've either like written the other things well enough, or you've cast members with enough charisma, number one,
Right.
to carry that whole idea to where you want them to succeed. Like, oh boy, that was the lead in the original, like has one mode, and it's like very stoic and like not excited about anything, and
Yeah.
it's not. He's not a leading man at all.
No.
Eliza, they tried to make her a thing, and she's also
They tried hard.
not a leading.
She
No.
has no softness, though, or no like other side. She's just so
She
coarse.
also
but,
has
like,
one of the most annoying
why would you
voices
like her?
I've ever heard in my life.
She's
Really?
Not speaking, but she cannot like
That's
she
funny.
cannot get loud without going to a register that I just naturally is like, yeah, kill her, quit. Like, just kill her.
You know
Like,
what it reminds me of is I think, or I know what you did last summer when Love is out on the
Jennifer
pier
Love. Oh, yeah,
being
yeah.
like, you like, or whatever. That
Yeah.
reminds me of Elijah Dushu whenever she tries to be tough. It's just this like over the top, like, what the fuck? Nobody know it. Like, it's
yeah.
not.
Yeah. It's just not believable. And it, again,
oh my
You-
god.
the-
I don't know.
Just
Did you guys
reminded
think
me,
they really
so-
tried to make it be believable?
I mean,
Well,
Well, there's
Maybe
so much.
the newer
that's the
one
same
more than the
time
first
frame,
one,
though,
but
right? That's the same time frame, the same type of people that they're trying to
Yeah.
cast and all that.
Oh,
That was
totally.
like what they were doing. And so that just reminded me though, like the original Scary Movie was so good
Oh yeah.
because it was so on par of critiquing shit. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And I saw an interview with Marlon Wayans about how they basically like stole that whole franchise from him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
all the creative rights, and that's why like number one is so good. It's so good. And then number two, they still had like input, and then they're like, yeah. So then they just stopped talking to us
Right.
and did whatever the fuck they want. And they're like, that's wild because we completely created this, and that's why they go off the rails from that point on. I was like, fuck, because you know, it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
I can notice just how ridiculous sometimes. Like that was a thing that they were doing. The little
It's
pouty,
super
skinny
dramatic.
things.
Just
Yeah.
over dramatic. Yeah. Come out
Yeah.
now. Where are you at? Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here. What do you-
because
I
don't-
that's what's going to make them come out.
yeah, right. Like, oh, damn, you're taunting me. Okay, I'll come out and get you right
although
now.
her titties were out too in that white
Yes.
shirt, so maybe that
Yes,
would make
they
them come out.
were. Yes.
Were they?
I mean,
that's like saying,
Watch
that's like
it
saying,
again.
damn, bro,
Yeah.
you're bulging. I'm like, yeah, I got.
I mean, there was definitely nip.
No,
There was
it was
white.
see-through.
Yeah, see through, and there was
Yeah.
nip for sure.
Mills, watch that again.
Oh, you wait, you're talking about Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
I was
yes.
talking about Eliza.
Oh, yeah.
sorry.
No.
I was
Oh
talking
no,
about
no,
our
no, no,
movie.
no, no,
Yeah, Beckett.
no.
Yeah.
She's not. She
I know
wouldn't
what
go
you
that
did
far.
for
no.
sure. I
Yeah.
understand that one.
So
This was like a shitty knockoff version of a lot of movies.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
Let's so all right. So back to you, Mills. A few things we talked a lot about stuff we didn't like already, but what a little bit more on
oh,
the
man.
remake and the original.
Yeah, so to not cover what we've already covered. I mean, there
I love how it just descended into a shit fest on both these
well,
movies. We're like,
but the thing is, like, they could have done so much better. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like, I get what the original was trying to do, and I kind of give it a little bit more credit because they were, like you were saying, like the B movie version of The Hills Have Eyes mixed with Deliverance.
Right.
Going for.
It was a more coherent story.
And in that, I think that in general it worked. There was a lot of like really dumb shit and really shitty casting.
Shitty acting.
Like, dude, you're gonna take your it was wild to me that a homeboy was gonna take his fucking pristine fucking Mustang that he couldn't fly for because he spent all his money on, and in the day and age where you have shitty cell phones with no GPS,
right?
You're not gonna wait. You're just gonna fucking take a back dirt road. That's some weird sketchy shit that they told you there's no other way to go around in your Mustang. Like when he slammed into the fucking Range Rover, you're like, okay, even though it's a young car, Range Rovers perform off road like incredibly well. Like that's
that's
okay.
I like how in that part they were the ones pissed. I'm like, dude, you left your fucking vehicle in the middle of the road. Like what? What do you expect?
It was all of that. It was just like a lot of choices that they made were just dumb.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't need all of my horror to be like super high class or anything like that.
Right.
So I felt like that worked more. The second one pissed me off way fucking more because I felt like just all in all, it just didn't work. You know, I do give them props for trying to do something fresh. It just didn't. None of it worked. None of it worked for me personally.
Right.
I thought that it was just really, really out of pocket with the way
everything.
Yeah, you know, like they were really trying to juice up we're different than the original. I think that was like, we're going to remake it, but we're going to make it different. Well, you're not starting from source material that's like inspirationally new.
Yeah. It's not Shakespeare here.
I don't feel like you need to like find your separation from something that was already pretty standard.
Right. Well,
they didn't get more creative. They got more standard.
Exactly what you're saying. That was a thought I had too. It like ended up coming off to me as like a Lifetime movie type.
You
know, just vibe or quality rather, as opposed to a movie, even though Matthew Modine was in it.
But okay, so like what the fuck was with that family dynamic? That also the mother, I was like, is that her mother or his stepmom? Or is that why they're
they say it in the beginning. That's her stepmom, and she's only like 8 years older than her.
And then even dad coming to get like 2 weeks. Listen, I'm sorry. I don't hear from my daughter.
Yeah.
Well, 2 days.
Yeah, but your daughter's a child.
When she's
my dad and I don't talk for like 3 or 4 months at a time, even if I'm traveling.
But if we have an arrangement that you're going to talk, you like call me every day to check in because you're doing some weird road trip that I'm going to be concerned about. You got 2 days.
He'd probably wait an extra week.
No, you got 2 days.
Honestly,
I'm gonna get on
because
a plane.
after I was 18, I wouldn't have stuck up to that. Like I would have fucked off and not answered.
Well, I'm gonna show
Fuck
up on
you,
a plane.
Dad.
I'm just saying. I'm just like, the thing is, if you're a grown up, you can. This is the way I am as a parent. You're a grown up. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But if you say that you're gonna check in because I'm worried about you, you know, every day, I don't hear from you for 2 days. Like I'm already gone. You know what I mean? You might check in on that third day when I'm
they
scouting.
set them up to be kind of estranged.
Like, yeah. I don't care.
Their relationship was obviously not enough anyway. So
as a good parent, I wouldn't have done that. I'm just saying.
Wouldn't you want to get away from fucking weirdo Matthew Modine dad? He was weird.
Look,
and most parents aren't good.
Already trying to get away from me. I'm telling you this.
Yeah.
Well, right, but you're a good parent. Most parents aren't.
Especially weird affluent
So I
ones.
don't think it's irrational.
Yeah.
As someone who listens to like true crime stuff all the time, there's completely normal families that their kids are gone for fucking months after they're 18, even though they're
Oh,
supposed
yeah,
to
for
talk
sure.
once a week and they don't
Yeah.
even report it. So that
For
to me isn't unrealistic at
Yeah.
all. It was more unrealistic the way he showed up and just like tried to Rambo out.
Right. Right.
That's the new term, Rambo out. Anything else,
Hmm.
Mills? Any other
Um,
gripes?
Okay, so the new one when Oh Boy showed back up, I fucking hate dream sequences where like they're imagining how shit can go and they're trying to sell it like that's how it really went. It is like the cheapest trick of the book. It's fucking annoying. You know what I mean? Like if maybe we phase it out for a decade, you could start bringing it back in and have it
Yeah.
effective. But it
Yeah.
really just
No.
fucking pisses me off.
I definitely don't think it was needed in that one.
No, that's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
not needed. It's almost never needed. So
Wow.
that made me really mad. And then even like they both had the final scene as the credit is rolling, which I liked that they both had that. I just didn't like the way that they did the second one as much as I liked the first one. I didn't have a problem with the second one. I just thought the first one was cooler.
Right.
The second
get it.
one was expected.
Right.
The first one was like, oh shit, they're trying to make sequels, you know.
Yeah.
They're leaving the option open, and they made a lot of sequels.
Always. What about you, Oubliette? What are your dislikes on both of these?
I mean, I touched on it earlier a bit when I wasn't supposed to, but the original one to me just wasn't creative at all. It's a movie I've seen a million times. Like
Right.
there's nothing in that storyline that isn't the same storyline of
Yeah.
all of them.
True.
My favorite part probably in that was the silly mutants because I do like that shit. But other than that, I mean, I like the kills. I like the gore. Like I said in the didn't like part, I like that this movie was probably a segue into getting back to some of the like slasher kind of family killer movies.
Right.
And even some of the torture porn stuff, which I, depending on the movie, don't mind much. It's more entertaining than some of the other shit out.
If they do it well, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I like Martyrs, I like High Tension, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I like the over the top stuff, or I like a really deep story. It has to be one or the other or both, because otherwise it just like leaves something to be desired.
Yeah, I just need you to execute whatever you're doing well.
Right. So for that time period, I was kind of glad that something like that came out. But yeah, storyline wise, writing, the actors all have done major things, or at least most of them. Like Sloane from Entourage as the girl who's getting married.
Mhm.
Her voice is also annoying as fuck.
See, I like it. It's comforting to me.
Oh my god, it's so high, and
Mills just doesn't like women's voices. Like, shut up,
Yeah, I was
woman.
gonna say
I like a
Sloane's voice is
Kathleen
little
Turner
more
voice
raspy.
that's deeper than mine. You know, a nice,
Yeah,
deep,
I
gravelly
know.
Catherine. Yeah.
Yes, her voice to me isn't high at all. She's like not even in like soprano range. And kind of raspy. She sounds like a smoker. What are you talking about? Her voice is too high.
I watched it today, like an hour ago. It was high and squeaky.
I
Maybe
guess
it was
when
my shitty
women are
speakers.
happy, sometimes they make noises that are higher and squeaky.
Yeah.
I've never experienced that in my life.
You're right,
yeah,
though. The story was the same thing we've seen a million times.
Trash.
Yeah, it's just that it's that same thing, but at the same time, there's a reason movies do that because it's fun and
Yeah,
Right.
you know,
but you know,
entertaining.
like not even like being a big. Well, no, I take that back. If you're into horror, you know exactly the ingredients they put into that cup. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know exactly how they came up with the idea
Sure.
for this movie. You the
I mean,
tropes
they
that
didn't come up
did
with an
were
idea. They just
exactly the
made a
same.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Hills Have Eyes, Deliverance, boom.
Texas
That's
Chainsaw
your
Massacre,
shit.
any of those
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah,
Motel
yeah,
Hell,
it's,
there's parts that are taken from that. It's like
yeah,
many
very,
movies. Like when
very
they find
formulaic, very
when they find the driver's license, like all that stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly. And then
you
like
have
how
you have the
dumb the
moment where you
characters
don't know
are.
something's happening, then a pivotal point where you know something's happening, and then it
Yeah,
escalates. You know, we've seen it, and some do it better than others. But
Mm.
like I said, I feel like the time of this movie, it was good because it kind of segued into bigger, better things and probably helped that happen because of its success, because it did
Yeah.
do well.
Right.
And had a lot of bigger name actors, and not bigger name, but well-known actors in that time because of like Clueless.
Yeah.
Main guy in Clueless is in it, like all them. So yeah, it was fun, and it's fun, and I didn't mind watching it again. I've watched it probably 5 or 6 times in my life, and I'm not sad about that. The new one, I mean, as far as it goes, like earlier we talked about, Brightburn and other stuff, and when you talk about reboots, they don't have to be the same storyline, they don't have to be
Right.
the same movie. So for me, one of my favorite things was that it wasn't, because I was like, I'm just gonna watch the same fucking shit, but with
Right.
annoying people from this time period, which the characters were annoying people from this
Yeah.
time period, but I feel like
That's one of the strongest.
for me, yeah, and I understand how you could say it feels like a Lifetime movie, but I do think the gore on this was pretty good, not as crazy as Wrong Turn, but there were, I mean, fuck, dude, like that guy's face with the tree scene
Yeah, that
was
was great.
pretty
Yeah.
That was great.
intense. I would have liked if it was more intense, but that's also me.
Well,
and the
I
kind
feel
of
like
movie
that
I
was
like.
also like the high point of the whole movie. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit, it's about to get real. Like you just started off with a bang. And I was like, okay, so we're up here. It's gonna go up from no, it never did.
Yeah. But I mean, I agree with you, Leah. One of the knocks on the new one is I feel like it could have been gorier for the type of story it was telling and for who the people were. So I agree with you on that.
It was
No, it could have been more rapey too. Like there's plenty of stuff they could have done. But at the same time, that's what a lot of them do. So maybe using restraint on that, they were trying to appeal to a bigger audience or just make it more like
palatable,
scary in its own
way.
No, make in honesty, make it feel more realistic and more scary. Like I could see definitely young women watching this and being way more fucking scared of this than the first one.
Yeah.
The first one in no realm seems realistic nowadays.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no mutants.
Not that this one, well, I mean, but I'm sure young women today think out in the hills people look like that. But,
I'm just saying that.
And I mean, even the community here,
there are people in the mountains that look like
that.
No, of course. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And
they're not high functioning,
Right. Right. And where the gore kind of in the low functioning first one took place, in this one, I think they were scarier because they were a little bit more evolved and would probably do way worse things keeping you alive than the other ones would have done, killing you badly really quickly.
But also like they weren't like the bad guys in the new one weren't even really bad guys. Like they were following like
See, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You think that. I think they were bad.
How are they bad?
I mean, I don't mind that they were bad because again, I think they're kind of hot, but they're bad.
They weren't great, but they weren't specifically bad. Like if you have a separate society with its own rules and
Mills is going to start a cult.
A fair trial according to their
This is how it all starts. Starts.
I lived in Japan, and Japan is fucking weird. It's not America.
Yeah, totally.
And
but what's a fair trial? They didn't give them a fair trial.
According to their
they were going to fucking kill them. They already killed one of their friends and made it seem like an accident. I mean, they were going to kill more of them, and then they put them through a trial thing. They are sadistic fucks.
I thought that
they did.
To make them think. I don't think they.
No, they fucking totally did.
Here's the thing, though. They're operating in this like world within a world that exists all around them, and everywhere else doesn't act like they do. So you can't be like, oh, well, in my house we get to fucking piss on each other and fucking shit in each other's mouths. So I'm just going to go out into the real world and start shitting on people, and it's going to be cool. You're going to be like, no, dude, you can't just shit on somebody. So
that's that's all of these are very good points. And also, I also thought.
I mean, not to shit on you shitting on the movie, but
no, I thought of a perfect argument against my side of things, which I don't like.
Yeah. So what else didn't you like about the new one?
Well, No, so like you were saying though, that it probably was intentional.
It was like,
Is the fact that the townspeople were like,
Let's let him
yeah,
get it out.
people go up there and they never come back down. Like, so they find a reason not to ever let, probably to protect their way of life. So you're
Right.
right. It probably is a lot more malicious.
well, I mean,
And-
and then he goes into the real world and tries to kidnap her back,
Oh yeah, but I mean,
kills her dad,
Yeah.
and like
once you
everything
give your
else.
word in old timey days, that's your bomb.
mean,
plan.
Yeah,
Also, where
Maybe
do you
he
get
had
the
his
RV?
fingers
Fuck,
crossed
man.
like in old timey days.
You
yeah,
just had an
maybe.
RV?
I mean, it's
Yeah,
it's
they probably took it from someone else who came up there. That's probably
Sure.
like a throwback to the Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
They
for sure.
fucking killed some family with
I
an
mean,
RV and
I'm
keep
saying,
that
I'm
shit.
just
They
now
have a fucking
realizing
car
that they were
graveyard.
more fucked up than it initially landed on
They're
us. So yeah, I
super
agree.
fucked up.
right,
You
but
gotta read between the lines, dude.
but devil's advocate in defense of the hill people in the community, when there's war and there's warring tribes or countries, well, who's wrong? It's because
Everybody.
Right?
to the enemies, what you're doing to them is wrong, and to you,
Totally.
what they're doing to you is wrong. So it's like, yeah, you're both right in your world, but
Yeah.
Sure.
there's
But if you're trying
objective-
to preserve a community, you need somebody from the outside to keep having babies. Otherwise, it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse.
right.
And then if people try to come in, you also have to take care of them and get them away because other people in your community might be like, oh shit, they've got cool stuff.
I mean, they weren't good.
What's that thing
Yeah.
that they're talking to? Shit like that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, no.
anyways.
Realistically, they were the villains. Yes.
Yeah. I
No,
just randomly
realistically,
sympathize with them.
the kids and them were villains.
Yeah, they're all bad.
Everyone's a villain in
Facts.
this.
Agreed. All right.
The only good people are the hard working people in that area that were at that bar and then saved them and just
Try
like
to save some fucking
wanted to
lucky
like do their shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not defending this because I think it's the best movie in the world, but I thought of a lot of reboots I've seen, probably almost all of them. This was the first one I saw that I was refreshed a little bit. Like, thank God it's not going in the same place. And that wasn't just because I thought the one dude was hot.
Daddy.
That was just like that was just a cherry on top. I actually hate the term daddy so much, but lately I've been using it on here.
Oh no, he gave you the
Kids do.
zaddy. He gave you the zaddy.
And I
Yeah.
just can't.
It's even
I mean,
worse.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
it's a good. I mean, I don't know.
What's a zaddy? I don't know what that is.
It's just more slang for daddy.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like
Oh,
up
okay.
another level. It's just
Yeah.
like more keyed in. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
it's daddy with
Yeah,
more
I
soul is
mean-
what Mills is trying to say.
Yeah, he's cute. Like, let's hang out on the bearskin rug. It's cool.
it's
Yeah.
like
Learn how to
a
forage
a
and
dominating
don't need to
bear
brush my
of a
hair.
gay man is a
Yeah.
zaddy.
I mean, that's fine too. Um, But anyways, that wasn't the selling point. That was just an add bonus. But I will say, like, the last maybe like quarter of the movie, I didn't care for that much with Modi and his daughter and their like little fight
Right.
scenes. It reminded me of Prey, the movie Prey, where it
Yep.
was just like overdone, like
Yeah.
Everyone's
and her
rainbowing
skills,
out.
of course, like we
Yeah.
talked about. That's like, yeah, I could just do all this shit and live. But I did like the ending.
Yeah.
Well, it reminded me of a lot of the 70s and 80s horror movies where you think something's over.
Right. Yeah.
and then you
I
have,
didn't
like,
mind.
the people making breakfast or doing whatever, and it's not really over.
Yeah,
and
I didn't
like
mind that.
because it's
I
a
thought
good
that was
it's a
fine.
good throwback.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's pregnant
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good little.
and didn't just like get an abortion, which
Yeah.
is weird because she seemed like the type that would have just
Totally.
like
Yep.
But also
real
that
quick.
homeboy just knew my seed is strong. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my problem is I saw too much of myself in him. You know,
Oh
fantastic
yeah, like you look at a
beard,
woman's loins, you just know
fantastic
Yeah.
beard, like
strong children.
women automatically get impregnated. Yeah, I mean
Right.
that's my problem. I saw too much of myself.
I
Just
feel
shows
that. I can understand
Yeah,
that.
I know you. You carry my child.
Mhm.
We shook hands. You must carry my child. Come back to my village.
Yeah.
God, I once had a guy say to me on a first date that I would have beautiful kids, and I was like,
That's weird.
Like it's so easy to be
Like,
a creepy ass dude.
"Oh no, I
Yeah.
was
I don't
was
feel
19." I'm like, Hmm.
I don't
that's
think
weird.
the average human appreciates just how easy it is to be a creepy ass dude. Like, I feel like any dude that is not
It's
actively a
apparently really
creepy ass
easy.
dude
Yeah.
is defying the system, you know?
Well, yeah, and also I think guys are just fucking stupid, so they're like, chicks like when you say this, do this type of thing, right?
Yeah, there's no man that has never been a creepy ass dude. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
they're
saying? That just hopefully most men don't stay in that mode, you know,
right.
trying to figure shit out.
They're just you don't know how to read. You don't know how to read the room, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and creepy dudes and creepy chicks hit differently
Totally.
depending
Yes,
on who they are.
for sure.
Yeah.
Like there's shit I say all the time that I was like, oh my God, if I was a guy, I would fucking probably have the cops show up at my house.
Probably.
But
Yeah. Oh, all right. Well,
I'm not
okay.
a dude.
I think the time has come that we give our choices and see which one won this remake rumble. Mills, you're the guest, so
Oh, I have to go with the original.
okay.
And I actually thought about this a lot because I didn't. There was a
Mills
lot
is all
wrong.
day like, oh my god, which one?
Well, I watched them 2 different days.
Mhm.
I watched them 2 different days, and when I watched each one, I was like, "Oh, this definitely is not the one."
Right. Dude, that's funny because I had that same thought when I was watching the new one. I was like, is this the right? Am I watching the right one?
But when I got through them both, and then like thinking about them, if I had to watch another one again, because I've only watched one twice, and that would be the original, yeah, I would have it that way.
All right.
I don't think either of them are fantastic movies. But
I concur.
yeah, I think the first one won out slightly for me, you know.
Okay. So we got one for the OG.
Yeah.
Do you want to go
But
next?
it's not a big win.
I mean, I think we both already know which one you're gonna pick, but
No, it's a tie.
Okay.
Ooh, there you go. We can
All
do
right.
that. I mean, that might be fair.
yeah.
No, it's a tie. There are things I like and hate about both of them. I think that they both deserve their place in the horror movie realm. I
Okay.
don't love either. I don't hate either. They're two totally different movies. So it's hard for me to make one better than the other. They're both so fucking cheesy in their own right, with the new one trying to be too serious and the old one just like being so 90s. Even though it
Yeah.
was in the 90s, it makes you want to.
It's weird because even
I loved the bad guys in the original, even though they
Right.
weren't hot.
right.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say about the 90s because even as we started this, in my head, I'm thinking 90s. And then when I was giving like
Yeah.
the year, I was
That's
like,
the
oh, 2003. Yeah, not the
Yeah.
90s. All right. God damn. So I guess I'm the
Well, I know what you're gonna pick.
breaker. Yeah. Like we've all agreed, neither of them are great. They both have a lot of issues. We both hate the teenagers. Or we all hate the
Almost
teenagers.
30-year-olds and all.
Yeah,
them.
almost 30. Yeah, exactly.
The 27 to 30-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, both were a little too long. I thought they probably could have cut 30 minutes out of
Yeah.
either one of them. And they both had some like unbelievable parts, like the
Oh, yeah.
tower scene or like the dad and the daughter ramboing out. And it's like, okay, what the fuck? All right, whatever. But the one thing I did like about the original is I thought or not the one thing, I guess, the two things is the premise, even though it's just a redundant mutant hillbilly fucking storyline, and the villains, I thought they were more fun. So for me, it's the OG. Just
works.
Yeah, just because it was more entertaining to watch because there were monsters, and I'm like, all right, this one has monsters, which I thought
We were gonna get.
the second one when I saw them, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, are they going to take the thing off? And then
Let's be
the-
wild. And then it's
right,
like,
the fucking the scouts and the hunters are just fucked up looking hill
and
people.
they're
And
just
then,
in their ghillie suits.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell me like, oh, you guys wear camouflage. So you're just in your ghillie suits.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
oh man, no, they're just like kind of
Completely rational, I mean, also
Yeah.
very impractical. So that's also bullshit. But I mean,
Yeah.
it felt like it took some wind out of it for me.
yeah. I
I feel like
blue
okay, so
balled.
my decision came from like this. I asked myself a question. I was like,
I like how much time Mills has spent on this. You could tell he was really
I did.
mulling
Yeah,
over
he's
this
really
all day. He's like,
invested.
I did. Unfortunately, I did.
I like it.
Because it was hard. Like I know you were going to ask me the question. I'm like, oh, I got to figure this out. So like I was like, okay, if given its time frame, right? So
Mhm.
in the fake 90s, which was the early 2000s, if I saw this movie, would I greenlight a sequel? And I was like, well, they fucking did. And I can see why they did, because even though it wasn't wildly original, you had vaguely like it was cast correctly, built up to the times, what was popular then, and it spawned off a whole bunch of remakes or
Right.
remake. But if you take the second one, this remake that we watched, and you're like, okay, this movie, given its time and everything, would I greenlight a sequel to this movie? And that's not saying it's a good movie, just like for the time that we're in right now, is it popular enough that we do something again? I would say personally no.
Right.
Um,
I agree with
and
that.
I'm not Hollywood. Hollywood makes a whole bunch of movies that I wouldn't say yes to.
Yeah.
But me personally, I probably would have made a sequel to the first one. Even though it's not wildly inventive, even the ending where dude came back and you thought he was dead. I'm like, okay, well, they're leading up for the sequel. That makes sense. We could do that. This was fun for the time.
Right. I mean, that's the
know.
thing. It was more fun. And
Yeah.
that's where it came down to for me. It's just like, all right, which one would I hate least watching it again?
Yes. That's
like,
it.
well, the
Easy.
first one was dumb and I hate Elijah Dushku and everyone else in this movie, but it had gross monsters and the kills were cool. Okay, monsters win, which usually monsters will always win. So,
right.
well, the OG won, and it's funny that you said that you did a tie. Oubliette is if we were rating these movies separately, as far as like giving a candy corn rating, they both got like a
Be the
1.5.
same
Yeah, I was like, but I hated watching the original less, so. In this fight, it's like,
Yeah, no, they both got a 2 from me. So
yeah, two probably would have been my number.
Well,
I will say though, rewatching, I fell asleep on the original 3 times through the whole movie.
Yeah.
That was me on the second one.
I watched it.
I mean, they're both just so long, just too long. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
Whatever. Anyone else got anything to say before we end this thing? No. That's like maybe. No.
I sent you guys a phone number to call.
I was like, right now?
Is it Elijah Dushku's phone number?
Oh my god, I'm about to call it, bitch.
Oh, man.
No, I'm gonna call it once we're done here.
Yes.
I'm so excited to call it.
So am I.
I'm so excited.
I don't even want to know what it's about. I'm just gonna call it.
For those of you listening, you need to call the number 1-833-578-0158. I love that movies are now doing interactive phone numbers stuff now.
Fuck yes.
It's so silly, but it reminds me of the olden days when we didn't have the internet and there'd be like a piece of paper at the VHS store that's like some like
I like all
random shit
or video games that had them. Mm-hmm.
I love all these attempts at multi-tiered, interaction. I like when the studios pay to just have random people show up at football games with crazy smiles and looking wild because you have smile.
Yeah.
Like I love
Black
all
Phone
these.
had some cool ones.
Yeah. I love like websites that have like rabbit holes you can go down and like phone numbers you can call and like new ways to
Same.
interact. Like in any way that you can slice
And they
it, I
could
think
really
that-
like blow that up way more.
yeah. I
For
feel
sure.
like
really
people are
fuck
so
with people.
lazy nowadays in the way that like because you used to have to do so much to
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just
ensure
so easy.
success, and
Way more
now everything's
accessible.
so easily accessible. It's like
Well-
still should do the work. You know what I mean? I appreciate the work.
Yeah. Well,
I agree.
cool. Hey, Mills, my man,
Yeah.
the moneymaker. Thanks for coming back and doing. You're like the Remake Rumble guy, so
Hell yeah.
that's it. Yeah, and thanks everyone for tuning in to this episode of Monster Candy
hello,
Podcast
Mr.
Remake
Fancy.
Rumble Edition.
I hear
And
candy,
all right, we'll see you later, little bitch holes.
Bye, guys.
Want some candy?
Bitch holes. I'm done with that shit.
You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight? We don't have to be mean.
Yeah, Jack Burton just looks that big old storm right square in the eye and he says, "Get away from her, you bitch!"
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Your move, creep.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.